Welcome, everyone, to our first student story sharing session of this week. The way this is going to work is we have a couple of presentations from a couple of our UND Study Abroad alumni. And once they both go through those, there'll be time for some Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions during presentation, feel free to send them in the chat. And we'll go over all those at the end. First up, we have Lizzie Rude. Lizzie is a senior majoring in marketing with a minor in international business. Lizzie studied abroad in the spring semester of 2020 at Griffith College in Dublin, Ireland through KEI.
Griffith College was, although a small campus, it's in a great location. It's only about half a mile from city center. You walk everywhere. I ended up walking to city center every day, whether it was for class or to find a coffee shop to go grocery shopping. It's a perfect location. The housing is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. You stay with other American students, also with either your program or a sister program. You have a kitchen and living room. Housing's on campus, obviously. Most of the housing students are international students. Classes, there's a huge range of classes. I only had one class a day, which was awesome. I didn't have class on Monday. And my favorite class was my Irish history and culture class, which all of these pictures were taken in, where we actually went and walked the city for our class and learned about all the history. History is a very big part of European culture, and everywhere you walk, there's going to be old buildings. Everything has history to it. You can tell a lot of the churches based off of the architecture as to like what era they were built in. There's a lot of history in movies abroad. The picture to the left is Trinity College Library, which Harry Potter was filmed in. And the picture to the right is a bridge in the middle of Wicklow Mountains, which P.S. I Love You was filmed at. We took a lot of hikes. Ireland is an island, so it's pretty much all coastal. You can find lots of beautiful places. This was our hike in Howth, which was about an hour bus ride from Dublin City. Super beautiful. Lots to do. This was our hike through Wicklow. This was one of our group-led hikes. We did a bus tour, hiked down to a lake, hiked through the mountains. It was super windy that day, literally got blown over. It rains and it's windy every day in Ireland, but like you get used to dressing in layers. This was the same day. We went to the Hills of Tara, which are the picture on the right. There's so many historical landmarks that they don't really know where they came from. The Hills of Tara is literally like dunes in the ground, thought to be like thousands of years old. Irish culture is pretty much based off of alcohol. There's a pub on every corner. There's so many whiskey museums and obviously the Guinness Storehouse. Definitely something to see when you go there. They're all on like the top 20 most visited places in Dublin. The Cliffs of Moher, these pictures do not do it justice. I would go back every time I go. It honestly was one of my top bucket list items that I got to check off. Beautiful, again, super windy, but it's always windy there. Traveling, a great thing about studying abroad in Europe is the ability to travel from country to country on the weekends. This was my trip to Germany. It was super cheap. I think I got a flight for like 20 euros. Was there for 5 days. Got to experience more than just my host country. This was my trip to Switzerland. It's super fun to immerse yourself in like the different culture with food. I got to check off another bucket list item by going to the Swiss Alps. My picture on the right was the first time I saw sunshine in like 3 weeks. So I literally just soaked it all in for the day. Not only is studying abroad an adventure within itself, but it opens up so many opportunities for you to do things. I went paragliding in the Swiss Alps, which I was like dead set on going skydiving, but unfortunately it was still winter season there, so you can't. But this is something that I will remember forever. The friends that you make studying abroad are friends that I will, they last a lifetime. I have a trip planned to go see 4 of my friends in South Carolina in a couple of weeks, actually. And although it's scary to go abroad by yourself, these friends turned into family very quickly. The on-site staff at Griffith especially was phenomenal. I would recommend this program literally just for this woman right here, Olwen. She is my Irish mom, and I cannot wait to visit her. She is planning to come to the US in the summer, and I'm super excited to see her.
Great, thank you, Lizzie. That was great. So our next presenter we have is Mason Reck. Mason is a senior pursuing a BS in computer science and a BA in German studies. He studied abroad last year in Regensburg, Germany. Take it away, Mason.
All right, so I studied abroad in Regensburg, Germany. This picture is actually in Iceland. This is on my way to Germany. And I had a big layover and I didn't know what to do. So I found this boulder in the parking lot and I decided to go climbing. So I had to occupy myself a little there while I was waiting for my next flight. This is Stuttgart. This is where I landed in Germany. And got to hang around with my host family, so to say. This section of Baden-Württemberg is very famous for its wine and vineyards, and it's just a beautiful countryside and view. The third day in Germany, I got to go rock climbing, which is like one of my favorite activities. And this is one of my, well, he's kind of like my host family dad, but I didn't have a host family. It's, I lived by myself in Regensburg, but I knew these people, so it was a lot of fun to go climbing with them. This is döner. This is one of my favorite German Turkish dishes. A lot of Turkish people came to Germany after World War II, and bringing with it their dishes and culture. And döner is one of my favorites. This was like a big spider that was in my room when I when I was studying abroad, and I actually like found out like what species it was. It was a große Winkelspinne, and it was like a big house spider or something. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. This is when I went to work with my friend Martin, and they basically handed me a shirt, and I was an employee for the day. And we gathered all the kids in the courtyard, and they would say good morning to everyone, and they would say "Guten Morgen, Mason" to me because like my name is pronounced differently, I guess, to them. This is Regensburg, and this is the St. Peter's Dome in Regensburg, and it's beautiful and colossal, and it really doesn't do it justice. It's so large, and you can't even like fathom how big it is in the picture. This was one of my favorite nights where I just decided to go on a big bike ride, and it was just like such a beautiful night. And it was actually like on my way back from climbing with a friend of mine. And Germany, or Regensburg is actually in Frankenjura, a section of Germany that's popular for climbing. This is just one of the things you can expect when going to Germany. Going to a restaurant, having dunkles Bier and pizza. It's just delicious. You'll love the German beer there if you go. This is a castle in Sigmaringen. I went here to visit my host family over the break, and it was amazing. And we got to see castles and cliffs, and it was beautiful. And then this day was funny because everyone going up to this point of interest they were all wearing like coats and stuff and hats and gloves, and I had to take my coat off because I was so warm, and I was the only one in a t-shirt. I was looking around like everyone was crazy. This is Blautopf. Blautopf is really cool, really pure water that's like in a cave system, and this is just outside the cave system. It's so cool. And this is one of my best friends, Benny, that I made there. I made so many good friends, especially through climbing. And we went climbing in Frankenjura, which is where Regensburg, the region where Regensburg is. And they have the most amazing cliffs. And you get to the top of one of these pitches, and you look back, and it's just like the most beautiful view. This is, I think, Marienplatz in München or Munich. It I went here with my friend who came to visit me from America, and he came like right as the travel ban went into effect. So this is him and I like trying to make the most of it. We went to a restaurant in München or Munich, and this is one of the best meals: sausage, Wurst, Sauerkraut, and dunkles Bier. And this particular beer brand was Paulaner, and which is a great beer brand in Germany. And then this is in Regensburg. This is Valhalla, and it is this. As you can see, it has this Greek style to it, and it just there's all sorts of architecture around Germany, and I love seeing cliffs and stuff. So I just had to include some cliffs. This was around Sigmaringen, and I just love the geography of Germany. It's so beautiful. I wish I could go back and go climbing and explore. Oh, I got my first tattoo in Germany, and I thought it was really interesting because it was really personal development. I feel like, getting to be more self-dependent, independent, and making my own decisions. But like having fun, having something to remember my trip by. Germany's famous for the Autobahn, and I didn't have a picture, but we went over 200 kilometers an hour because there's no speed limit on the Autobahn in certain places. So this was on our way up to Frankfurt, so on my return flight. And this was one of my favorite days. I normally don't like running, but I took a run this day and I'd never regretted it because I found this amazing view where you can get to the top of this hill and see the entire city of Regensburg. And that moment, I just like looked over my city where I was studying abroad, and it was just amazing. And it just I realized in that moment it was one of the best experiences of my life. So
Great pictures, great presentations, everyone. Right. I have a few questions in chat. Whoever wants to take these, they can. Maybe you can both take turns answering. The first one is, was this your first time traveling internationally?
for me, it was. I had only ever been to Canada, and so it was kind of taking a really big leap, but I knew I wasn't going to regret it. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made, even though it might have been like a little scary at first, or like I'm literally going to a different continent. It was well worth it. And all that like fear of like things not working out just blew away once I got there because I didn't care. I was just like in the culture and I was happy. So
For me, this was not my first time internationally. I've been on family vacations on like cruises to tropical places, but and then in high school I did a class trip to Paris, France. But this was my first time alone internationally, so definitely a difference, but worth it.
Why did you guys choose your locations?
I am very Irish, so when I was trying to pick, I was actually dead set on going to Greece for the longest time, and then kind of last minute, I changed to Ireland. I liked the ability to be in Europe and easily catch a flight to another country. The biggest pull factor for me was to be next to an international airport. Going abroad for me was more than just getting to know my host country, but also to travel pretty much every weekend, which with COVID, I missed out on quite a lot of opportunities, but I'm grateful for the ones that I had.
I obviously chose Germany because I was majoring in German studies, and I already knew quite a bit of the language. So going somewhere where you know a bit of the language is super helpful. And even though a lot of people speak English there, you earn an incredible amount of respect from knowing the language.
Was it easy getting around your host city?
Yes, I bought a bike, and there's so many like bike lanes and trails and stuff, and I could literally go across the entire city with my bike. It was super easy.
Yes, they had bus routes everywhere, but honestly, it was quicker to walk, and I would walk everywhere every day. A great part of my campus was it was so close to city center and so close to everything that I would need. And like you're there to learn about the country that you're in, so you don't really stay on campus often. You go out and explore. I would end up walking like 10 miles a day, which sounds like a lot, but didn't feel like a lot because you just get so used to it. You do it so often. So definitely very easy to get around.
Yeah, the public transport is amazing. It's phenomenal, but in Europe mostly. So
How was packing for each of you? Did you find you had too much that you brought with or not enough?
I packed too many things that I didn't necessarily need. Like I didn't pack the correct things. Um, Ireland is a lot chillier than I expected, and I didn't bring enough like layerable clothes, even though they tell you this before you go. So I ended up buying like a bunch of sweaters while I was there. But definitely like they give you packing lists like UND does, and also the program that I went through. And I followed it like pretty well. It was just the clothes aspect that I kind of missed on.
I packed pretty well. I actually had the mysterious case of returning with less things. Not sure how that happened, but I didn't pack too heavy. It was all that I needed actually. It was perfect, so no trouble.
Good. How was it making friends for each of you?
Easy peasy. It was great, especially with other international students that were studying abroad in Regensburg, because you guys were in similar situations, and also knowing the German language really helps. Um, it was really easy because everyone was so enthusiastic and interested in just being where they were, and communicating with others socially. It was super easy. There were always events to go to. It wasn't hard at all to make friends. It was great.
I also found it extremely easy. Everyone that goes abroad is kind of in the same boat as you, where they're nervous about meeting people and getting to know others and finding like a travel buddy or someone to do something with. For mine, three different companies use the same on-site director. And day one, when we got there, we ended up taking a 6-hour walking tour of Dublin City with our director and everyone in our group. So there was 11 of us. So very quickly we bonded. It was like day 3, we went on a hike and all of us were like, oh, I can't believe it's day 3. Like we feel like family already. So super easy.
How was cooking for you guys? Did you cook more? Did you eat out more? How was the grocery store?
I cooked a lot. We had a shared kitchen, and it was always fun to go cook because you'll see like your floor mates, and it was a great time to socialize and stuff. Didn't go out very much, and I think that's just because like I like cooking too, and it's cheaper, and the groceries were actually pretty cheap there. But so it encouraged me to cook a little bit more. Um, But it was also nice because I sometimes coordinated with my floor mates' meals, and we used to cook with each other. So
I also cooked quite a bit. I think I did like a 70-30 of like cook and eat out. Obviously, I wanted to experience like their meals there, and part of studying abroad is like kind of splurging. My group, we would do family dinners every Wednesday. So the 11 of us would get together, and one of us or two of us would make a meal for everybody. So that was kind of cool. A time to like sit and chat. Having your own kitchen was super nice. So I definitely use that. The grocery stores there are very different. I guess in Ireland at least, they're super small. It's mostly like corner stores, like the size of a gas station. Most people don't buy groceries for like the week. They buy like on their way home from work, they stop in and like buy what they need for the night. So that was kind of cool. I found like a farmer's market not too far from my school that I went to often. So it was fun to just kind of do a little of both.
When did each of you decide to apply for your programs?
I had
Uh,
always go ahead.
no, you go.
I had always wanted to study abroad, and I just didn't know when my opportunity would be. So I did a little bit of planning ahead, and I looked at my academic schedule. I talked with my advisors from both my degree departments, and I just set up a plan. I set up an appointment at the International Center, and away we went.
I have always wanted to know that I wanted to go abroad, like since I was like 10. It was just a matter of when. I in school like didn't necessarily know when I was going to go due to the fact that I switched majors a couple of times, so it was difficult to figure out a spot that academically worked for me. Ultimately, it's pushing back my graduation date by like a semester, maybe two. Fingers crossed it's just one, but it's to me it was worth it. I applied I kind of applied early just because I had other things going on that kept me away from campus. So I had to really have my ducks in a row. I think I applied my second semester sophomore year, so spring of my sophomore year, to study abroad in the fall, no, in the spring of my junior year. So
Right. Did either of you come back with any new music or movie or show recommendations that you learned about in your host country?
Yeah, but there's too many to name. It's like I couldn't go through all the lists of new music that I enjoyed, and yeah, I didn't actually watch very many movies, but there were many different cultural aspects that I really enjoyed to this day. So
um honestly, the Irish culture is pretty similar to here. That was one of my pulls to go there, mostly because they spoke English. But I I also didn't like watch a lot of movies or shows. I was mostly like out and about. We didn't have like a TV with cable or anything. If we wanted to watch a movie, we just watched Netflix, which European Netflix is different. They have some shows that we have taken off of Netflix, so that was kind of cool. But honestly, I wasn't watching TV often. So
What did you do through cell phones?
through my program, they pre-set up, it was like part of your fee to go, that they would give you a new SIM card. So the first day when we got there, our on-site staff took us to the phone store, got us our SIM cards. I just switched out my SIM card and I had full access. I think it was like $20 a month for unlimited everything. So it was super cheap, pretty easy, lots of help. So
okay, I know most people wouldn't do this, but I took it as an opportunity to step away from, you know, social media and everything. I actually never bought a SIM card. I went completely just off of whenever I needed to use my phone, I could use Wi-Fi. But I relied on communicating with others to get around and stuff like that. Actually worked out really well. I enjoyed my time away from always looking down at my phone, and just being within the culture is a good decision actually if I look back at it.
Is there anything that you, when you got to your host country or after a couple days, couple weeks, you wish you had thought of before you left?
I don't think so. Um, I would kind of just went in there with an open mind, and um, there wasn't really anything that caught me off guard or anything. It was just enjoying experiencing the new culture. So there wasn't really anything that I I didn't pack or anything that caught me off guard. So
I also went in pretty open-minded, so I wasn't like expecting like too much. The only thing that I like wish I would have packed was obviously warmer clothes, but pretty easy to get my hands on over there. So
Well, I think this is the last question from the comments, unless we get any more in the next couple of minutes. But what would you say to someone who is on the fence about studying abroad?
do it. You won't regret your decision, honestly. It's the trip of a lifetime, and this is the cheapest way that you're going to be able to travel. And studying abroad is so much different than like traveling to a country for a couple of weeks, because you're one of them, you're immersing yourself, you're living there. That was kind of the coolest part for me, was you had a home base there. So even when I traveled on the weekends to Germany or Switzerland, or took a cross country trip to Galway, like it was like, oh, it's going to be nice to go home, like to go home, do laundry, pack again, like get my life together, have like a home base there. So it's definitely a different type of traveling, one that you should definitely take advantage of. And if you have any hesitations, throw them out the window and go for it.
yeah, seriously, go for it. Like I'm sure people hesitate and stuff, and they're scared about all the things that could happen that could go wrong. But it was seriously like one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. Like the amount that I developed as a person, the all the things that I learned, all the friends that I made. I mean, I even like practically have a second family in Germany now, and it's seriously, it's like one of the best experiences you can do. So
Great. Well, I think that's all we have for questions. Thank you, Lizzie and Mason, for your time
yeah,
today.
no problem.
Wonderful presentations. Um, our next student story sharing session will be tomorrow at noon for whoever wants to come. There's more information on the Study Abroad website. Thank you for coming.